if you look around Glee, you will see lots of new products and inventions, but will you see them again next year and the year after when you come to Glee again? How many of them are actually going to be turned into commercial successes? And you must ask yourself, why are those companies not successful? Ask them, and they'll often say it's because the garden centres won't buy them, the garden centres won't support them, or they don't look after the product. Ask the garden centres, many other people, it's because the companies perhaps don't understand the way that the industry works. So the object of the Garden Angels is to talk to 6 of these companies who've brought bright new products to Glee this year, and to help them put together their business plan and strategy to help them be successful. We had 2 products yesterday. They were the Water Guardian and Squirrel Ban, and as you could see from the chart there, at the end the judges will score them, A, on their product, and B, on the likelihood of their current plan of bringing it to business being successful. And at the end there will be a winner, and there is a plaque for the winner. So it is a competition. And at the end we will offer you the chance to ask the Angels any questions that you may have, whether about anything they've said during the competition or questions that you particularly want to ask them. So without further ado, let us meet our 3 Angels. Big hand for the Angels. Welcome, Angels, and let me introduce you first to Sue Allen, who is now the retired managing director of the Millbrook Garden Company, which she started with her husband Dick. She's still very enthusiastically involved in the industry, and she's the immediate past president of the International Garden Centre Association, and is a very active member in the Green Relief charity, and is currently promoting the Green Relief Day, which I hope you'll all become involved in early next year. Our second Angel on your left is Paris Nattar, who probably doesn't need much introduction to many of you. He's the founder of Gardman, which is a company which now has sales of over £70 million. He's sold the group, but during the time that he built it up, I think the thing he's probably most proud of was the fact that it was voted the Garden Centre's favourite supplier for 8 consecutive years. I think that's right, isn't it, Paris?
That's very true, yeah.
And our third Angel is Stephen Pitcher, who is the purchasing director of the Garden Centre Group, and has been there since 2008. He's been in the garden industry for 25 years, and much of that time has been working with Nicholas Marshall, who's the chief executive of the Garden Centre Group. And as many of you know, the Garden Centre Group's going through a bit of a revival at the moment, and is currently going through a process of finding new owners, which we hope will be successful shortly, and will be a great fillip for the whole of the industry when that's finally completed. So that's enough of the introduction. Let us meet our first company, which is Craft Central. And Craft Central fits retail craft units into garden centres. It's a new concept, which is a sort of halfway house between category management of crafts on one side and a full concession or franchise on the other side. And so it's a new idea of retailing crafts in the UK, and we welcome Tom McKenzie, Managing Director, and Jeff Ingram, who's the Sales Ops Manager. I think you're going to do most of the presentation.
Well, I believe so. I'm the one that's catching the bullets.
Let me start by asking you exactly, what does Craft Central do?
The idea behind Craft Central is craft is a very difficult product area for garden centres to move into. We believe it's a very involved area. And we have tried to simplify the package for a garden centre, as a classic example, to introduce a craft unit. We will bring to the garden centre a fully merchandised craft unit. We will fit it out with all the fixturing. We will merchandise it. We will provide an EPOS till system ready to go on the day of opening. Once the craft unit is opened, we will download from the EPOS till system the daily sales line by line, and we will provide a just-in-time backup with stock arriving in the garden centre, hopefully to coincide with the points at which their stock is getting low. Basically, we're trying to take the pain out of operating a craft unit within the garden centre.
And tell me, how long have you been trading, and how many garden centres are you currently in?
We've been trading just under 2 years, and we're currently operating in 5 garden centres. We've brought them on stream very slowly. The model, as you can imagine, is quite complex. The back of house side of the model is quite complex. And we've been wanting to make sure that we ironed out all the bugs along the way, of which there obviously were some. And hopefully we're just about there with no more problems to arise, but I'm sure there will be. As we all know in business, they keep sneaking up on us.
And tell me, what particular questions would you like the Angels to answer for you today?
Well, I think we're at this cusp with the business where we're about to hopefully bloom into a number of new sites. And we've taken our approach to coming to market by coming to shows like Glee. And I think the Angels could probably give us a lot of input in where they would see us being more active in going to market, and how to encourage more garden centres to look at our concept.
I think I'll hand you over to the Angels. And Paris, I think you're going to start.
Yeah, I'll kick off, even though I'm the only panellist here that's not a retailer. So you probably have to take everything that I say with a very large pinch of salt. I'm sure you get much more meaningful feedback from Sue and from Steve. But it does seem to me that you've taken on a brand from a company that went out of business. You were a supplier to that business, and so you obviously have a pretty good knowledge of the supply chain that goes into it. But my concern is that from what I've seen of your booth, it doesn't get my juices flowing. It's not exciting enough. You really need to perhaps revisit that. And I was wondering what your thinking is on that. Obviously, there's a cost constraint in doing that, but I'd be quite interested to know how you're going to approach refreshing and modernising the new Craft Central.
Yeah, I take on board. I think there's almost a two-part question. That why did we stick with Craft Central as the name, which I suspect you're alluding to. It was a failed brand. Failed, I think, predominantly because of the way they went to market. They expanded very rapidly, and they expanded into an unfortunate time in the history of all businesses when we had a sudden recession hit us. I take on board your comments about getting the message over in the booth, because how do you tell people as they walk past you what you're about? With a product, it's very easy for them to see there's something there. Yeah. We've got a message. And
yeah, sorry, I wasn't really referring to that aspect. I was referring to the overall look of it. It does look a little bit kind of plain.
Yeah.
Okay. And the brand itself, even forgetting its checkered history, doesn't look that inspirational. And again, I qualify what I'm saying by saying I'm not a retailer, but it does strike me as being a little bit kind of plain and in need of modernization.
I'm almost tempted to say thank you for that, because you know what, we've been so involved in it, we've maybe not looked at it from the outside looking in, we've looked at it from the inside looking out. We thought we were saying, this is craft, can we talk about how we get you into craft? But we obviously haven't been saying that, Paris, so thanks for that.
Take it with a pinch of salt, but that's my
valid
initial
criticism
view.
is fabulous. Yeah. I like it. Thank you. It helps.
Can I just ask you a question? You were saying that you would provide all the stock, obviously, and then a till.
Yeah.
But not staffing.
Not staffing. The old model was that they put the whole package in, staff and everything. We feel that operating within the garden centre have staff there. We will train staff and make sure the staff are competent, but the garden centre, because of it's having 50, 100 members of staff there, they can cover the lunch hours, well, yeah, you know, sorry, exaggerating, 20, 40. Well, I was thinking a big garden centre. They can cover the lunch hours, they can cover absenteeism and sickness. If we tried to operate that from a central position and 2 members of staff went off simultaneously, we might struggle to get a quick cover into the centre.
Knowing what it costs to staff a garden centre these days, you've got to sell a heck of a lot of little packets of pretty ribbons to cover the cost of, in effect, having someone there devoted to that.
Yeah.
Would there not be a way of actually your products going through the main EPOS system of the garden centre, but that you were still able to pull off the information that you need for the restocking?
Yes, that could be downstreamed off the garden centre's own tills without any difficulty. We have a particular feeling that within a craft centre, having a member of staff there demonstrating and helping the customer make their selection is a very worthwhile effort. In one of the garden centres, which we run our own unit in, we've done a little bit of a survey there, and we found, I think it was it 56% of customers coming into the garden centre will engage in conversation with our member of staff and ask questions. So we feel that justifies the need to have a crafter in the department helping and supporting the customers.
Do you want to go?
I think already there's a problem because it's neither concession or sort of its own shop within a shop. The difference you've got in your experiment is you've got your own team in it.
Sorry,
You've got your own team running your own module at the moment. The moment that goes into a garden centre where it's not, and whatever you hope, there's no way you're going to have a dedicated, because either, a garden centre may as well do this job itself. So it's slightly confused. I think if you said, actually, it's a standalone shop within a shop, it doesn't need any people. We're going to put videos in, we're going to put in all sorts of things and dress it up so it sells itself. We can worry about the location of where it goes in a garden centre to make sure it's in the right place. But the product then goes through the main tills. Mm-hmm. Because you've put various elements in. You're saying that you need to service a customer and actually you're going to have to run a till. That's quite a commitment. And what you haven't mentioned, of course, is can the margin actually cover any of that? Now, craft and hobby has always been perceived as extremely high margins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you want to take that one, Tom?
We supply the garden centres at the same price they would get from going to the individual suppliers. So they get a full 100% markup on the products. Our profits come from the margins we've negotiated with the suppliers. The staffing cost is obviously lower than it was on the previous model because the scale that they can use staff from the other departments to cover breaks, so there's a cost saving there. So we've really drilled down on where the costs were in the old model and tried to retain more profit with the garden centres.
How will you fund the shop fit?
We have the shop fittings on site from the previous centre at the moment. We could do that for a number of stores up to around about 20 shops. After that, then we look at maybe a commitment from the garden centres as a cost towards that.
Right.
Okay,
You're going next. Yeah.
And what about the footprint? What's the size of the footprint of this?
The footprint we're working on is round about 1,000 square feet. Our normal model we aim for a site which will generate no less than £100,000 turnover at retail, excluding the VAT, which you're getting about £100 per square foot return. That's another question, isn't it? Really, yes.
I noticed that you're suggesting 4,000 different craft products.
At any one time we have in the region of 4,000 to 5,000 craft products. It's a very fluid market and we expect 2,000 to 3,000 to change over within a year. And by us managing it on a global basis rather than individual stores managing it, we try to prevent the stock from getting log jammed in that quick changeover. That's what's unique about crafts rather than maybe retailing other things in the garden centre.
And can I just ask what sort of support you would give the garden centre then to ensure that they keep it looking pristine and beautiful? Because craft is a pig to keep looking good. Sorry.
It is, and so we bring out promotions, we bring out offers. Again, at scale of economy, we print posters, backup, point of sale. So it's all supply. It's scale of economy again. It's easier to supply 10 shops with point of sale than 10 shops do it once. So they get a fully fitted, fully merchandised area.
One of the things that I can perhaps contribute a little bit is on the supply chain. Strikes me that you've only got 5 outlets at the moment. One of your big difficulties is getting the scale necessary to really drive down your costs by sourcing more from the Far East, because essentially you're acting as an import wholesaler on behalf of the retailer. Would you agree with that?
Not strictly speaking, 80% of the products in store are supplied by UK.
That's
my
very
point. Design-led.
Yeah, that's my point. Isn't there a margin to be leveraged by going to Far Eastern suppliers?
There is, but we don't envisage getting away from that 80% margin. Crafts are very design-led. By this time, we're not craft designers. They see things on the shopping channel, they want to buy them in store that week.
Yeah,
that's really the craft.
I'm not saying some
changing.
of it isn't sourced locally,
no, some of
but I'm just wondering how soon you'll be able to get enough volume to get the bigger margins that you can then enjoy yourselves as well as pass on to your concessionaires.
We make no bones about it. Our break-even point is 8 stores. We have 5
How
stores.
many? 8 stores.
8 stores. At the moment we operate 5 stores, so obviously we're below break-even at the moment.
Yeah.
As things move forward, you ask about how we finance the shop fittings going forward. By the time we come to refit the shops at 20 stores, the scale of economies then apply for the shop fittings as well.
Yeah, but spread across 4,500 products,
Yep.
it's quite difficult to do that, isn't it? Because the volume per item is very, very low on most of them. I accept it's probably reasonable on some of them, but the vast majority will be service lines on a tiny volume.
A vast majority of our lines are moving, they're fluid.
Yeah.
Magazines have a shelf life of 1 to 2 months. The next issue's out.
Yeah.
With crafts, you're looking about 3 to 4 months on a lot of the products. So it's important that they get shifted through quickly, and the shops don't get log jammed. That's why we use the EPOS to predict when lines are dying very, very quickly, which an independent store or a craft unit within an independent garden centre would not see that trend quickly enough to react to it.
Well, they've all got EPOS, or most, majority of them have. I mean, it's not strictly true. Can I just ask about following on from the supply chain point of view, the replenishment? You said that you'd monitor it, and you would. How would you dispatch? Because you could be dispatching two reels of cotton.
No, what we're not. We are stocking the product ourselves in our own central warehouse. We're not bringing product direct from the initial supplier direct.
But how are you going to get it to me next day?
We're doing regular drops because we're bringing, as you said, 4,000 lines. There's not just going to be 2 reels of cotton on any one day. We plan to drop every fortnight or every month, depending on the size of the unit, and we're gauging our stock holding to that.
That's not quite what you said at the beginning.
In addition to that, we also have an overnight parcel rate, which we're using within other divisions of our business. And if there was pressure points arising, which always does happen, the unexpected, we would be able to fulfil them on a 24-hour, because the EPOS is highlighting that. I
mean, this is the tricky bit, because the point of, from my point of view, doing this would be to walk away from any risk, really, and say, here's 1,000 square foot, over to you guys. By the way, don't ever let me run out of stock. And also, what about the end of season? Who takes the hit on the clearance?
The seasonal issue is not huge in craft. What you have is fashion changes, and the fashion changes happen relatively slowly over a period of 2 or 3 months. That's quite quick, but it's relatively slowly as long as we have kept your stock levels at a just-in-time level. You're not exposed to the unit size of 12 that products normally come into. You're exposed to a just-in-time stock level of maybe 3.
Are you going to pick singles?
Sorry?
Yes.
You're going to pick singles?
Yeah.
So when you come down to these tiny, you're literally going to send out singles?
One of the
4,000 lines.
One of the chips for one of the automatic cutters, yes, they would be coming out to you in singles.
A typical order of a fortnightly cycle would be out of that 4,000 lines, 1,200 lines returned. You get them in an individual box with a packing list in each case. This is where we've developed the systems that have taken time. So you're not committing yourself to take a pack of 12 of any particular item. We keep your stock levels low, and then when products change, your exposure is much, much reduced over doing it independently.
Any last questions? Because I think time's running out on us. Thank you very much. Now the telling moments, because we asked the Angels if they will pick up their scoring cards and give a score, first of all, on the concept. This concept, which is sort of halfway between a concession and a halfway between a category managed area of a store. And I think also, I'd ask you to comment on it, if you particularly like this, is it something that would work with other products, something like cookware or something in a garden centre, something that the garden centre doesn't have the knowledge naturally and would have to pick up? So can I ask, Paris, will you start the scoring?
Well, in terms of the idea itself, I think crafts in a garden centre makes sense. I like the fact that it's probably second half biased slightly. I would imagine people will tend to buy more of these things in the winter months, but it's perhaps a year-round thing, obviously. But is that the case? Is there
it's actually a very level graph.
Is it? Yeah.
There are peaks and troughs,
yeah.
but the variation is in the region of 15%, yeah. which is very, very small. Yeah. But I must agree with you, Paris. My initial thoughts on it were that it was a winter activity, but it would appear not. It appears fairly year-round.
But in any event, I think that there is a market for crafts in every garden. I would have thought it's a logical add-in. Yeah. So on that basis alone, I would give you a reasonable score. I'd give you a 6.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you for the comments you made earlier on, Paris.
Pleasure.
Very useful.
Sue.
I'm still struggling with the fact that garden centre staff would be expected to care for it. In the past, I've had the opportunity to go and judge garden centres for Christmas displays and what have you. Sadly, it's always the craft corner that has become a mess. And I still can't get my head around the fact that they will treat it lovingly when it's not their main priority. Hence, I'm only going to give you a 3.
So, thanks again. It's not what we'd hoped for, but I take on board your comments about the fact that the craft centres are always poorly looked after. And I think that's where we have to keep on top of the garden centres and support them in that area. But thank you for that.
Stephen.
I think the first point is that there is a need, and I think there is something here, okay, with whether it's consignment stock or whatever it is. I mean, even with the resources I've got, I don't particularly want to buy or put a team of craft buyers in. But, there is a desperate need to put craft product in. So, actually, there's something definitely there. Okay. And there's probably something that can be taken, as you say, kitchenware and other. They're alien products. It's they're slightly off mainstream. Craft is definitely complementary, and we've seen a successful guy build it up and sell it off in the last couple of years. So there's definitely a market. From the point of view of the actual concept and the idea of bringing it to life, I've actually got a 7 on here.
Ooh. Our highest score in the show so far.
Thank you very, very much indeed. That is a compliment. Very kind of you. Thank you.
So that gives us a total of 16. Well done. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
George, I thought we were doing 2 scores.
Oh, sure, quite right. There was only 16 on the first one. The second score...
It's a bit unfair if they only got 1 round of
I'm
scores.
half asleep here. The second score is... It's a good idea, particularly on Steve Pitcher's score, but how confident are the Angels in their ability to deliver in the way that they've set up their business at the moment, i.e., are they going to get rich the way they're going to go about it at the moment? So perhaps we'll start the other way around this time, Stephen, and back to you.
This was, I think, the weakest part. And as Sue has said, I think you need to probably just come to terms with the fact that even running 4,000 SKUs, trying to run it out, you hit 50 stores with that. The workload, you're not going to be picking with robots. This is This is actually people. It's going to become, I think the distribution and the warehousing is going to become absolutely mind-blowing. And I think you've got to come to terms with that before you give all your margins away and everything else. The shop fit is crucial. I don't want to buy shop fittings.
Absolutely.
You know, I need somebody to come in. I'll give you 1,000 square feet, but actually it's got to be over to you. And I think all that modelling has got to be done yet. So I would probably mark down. I think there's a lot more to do on that side. So I think I'm probably down at 4 on that side. Sorry.
A 4.
Your comments are very pertinent, and I think we're painfully aware
that's the bit to work on, because it's the idea is great, but I think the execution is going to be the real tricky bit.
Stephen, I know the question they'd all like you to answer is whether you'd be prepared to speak to them further.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
Sue.
I'm going to give you a mark with the proviso that you promise to go back and rethink your website. Because at the moment, if I was a garden centre thinking, oh yeah, let's have a look at them, and I looked on your website, I would think, no. It's very clunky, it's very slow, and it's not inspiring me at all. With the assumption that you will now rush back and do something about that, I'll give you a 5.
Thank you, Sue. And you know what? I think we had that one coming. We'll take that one on the chin, definitely.
Paris.
Well, you know, I think there's a lot more work that you've got to do on refreshing your model. You know, and I mean, there is a lot. And frankly, I'm disappointed that after 2 years, you've only got 5 outlets doing it. I would have expected you to have made a lot more progress and be in 20 to 30 outlets by this. I don't know what the reason is for that, but you know, I think you've got a lot of work to do to make this into a long-term success. I'm afraid I'm not going to score you as positively as Sue and Steve. So, but I will give you a 3.
Thank you, Paris.
Okay.
Paris, you know, again, I take on board what you said. With the benefit of hindsight, I'm glad we actually started slowly, because it's given us time to iron out a lot of bugs. Yeah. But you're absolutely right. When we first set out the model, I think we were hoping for that level of growth as well. Yeah. So thank you.
Good. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you again both very much. I think we have got to the end this time. Well done, and because it's an ordeal standing up there and doing that. So well done. You. And their score, 28. So we now have a tie with 2 companies in the lead. That'll present us with a problem. So let's see. Let us meet our next company. Very different company. This is Brian Gillard and his company Slug Gone. So Brian, come forward. Now Slug Gone, first of all, he's already won a new product award at Glee for Slug Gone as best green new product. And Slug Gone are wool pellets from Scotland that form a mat when placed around plants and repel slugs.
Can I leave you those? Sorry.
Oh.
Thank you.
I thought that was lunch.
So there's a bit of bribery going on here of the Angels, but while they look into their packets, Brian, let me ask you to explain exactly what Slug Gone is and what it does.
Right. Well, Slug Gone is everything from the sheep's fleece pelleted up. What I do, when the sheep's fleece comes into the factory, before it's washed and scoured, it's got to have everything taken out of it. And I mean everything. The dung, the sand, soil, the vegetable matter, the bits of rock, everything. And I collect that on a conveyor. It goes from the conveyor into bales. We take the bales round to where my machines are. We put the wool and all the material into a hopper. It goes up through a hopper, down, which is very slowly fed onto a conveyor, up and down into a turbulator, and back through a pelleter into carts, right? You take your pellets, once they've made, you put them around your plants and water them in, give them a right good water in. and within a very short space of time, the pellets all swell up, bind together, and they form an insulation mat around your plant that doesn't blow or wash away. And that'll stay like that, undisturbed round your plant for anywhere up to 12 months as it biodegrades and breaks down. Wool fibres are hygroscopic. They attract moisture. So what I'm saying is that the nature of wool fibres plus the sand and grit that's found naturally in the sheep's fleece, and also, importantly, the potassium salts from the sweat glands of the sheep, which is the lanolin, absorbs some of the slime from the slug's foot to cause irritation, and they'll seek elsewhere for easier feeding. You can't see it now, but that's roughly what it looks like from ground level, and you can see all the little hairs that's protruding up. But apart from that, the pellets are an excellent feed for your plants. The nitrogen, potassium and phosphate content is a good mix and balance for growing things, and the pellets also hold twice their own weight in water. So it acts as a very, very good mulch. It's a good wheat suppressant, soil conditioner and slow release fertilizer. It's safe for all your garden wildlife and pets. I am registered and approved by the Soil Association. We came out as top choice in Gardener's World magazine for slug and snail deterrent. And as George has said, we've won the Green Innovation at the show, and we make everything ourselves up in Yorkshire.
And Brian, tell me, that was a very good explanation of what it is and what it does. This isn't a new product. You've been selling it for some time, haven't you?
Yeah. I've been selling it for around about 4 or 5 years, and that if I said I hadn't struggled, then I'd be telling lies. I've just done bits and bits. This is the very first trade show I've been able to do, like, because I haven't been able to afford one up to now, and that. But I do a lot in local garden centres. I think I've a decent website, and I sell to local, I might not have, yeah. and sell to local garden societies and allotment societies.
And tell me, and tell the Angels, what sort of particular questions would they like? Would you like them to answer?
Well, how to improve it and perhaps be able to get into garden centres, because I've had 1 or 2 kickbacks from when I've approached agents where there hasn't been enough money in it for them to do it, and you get a bit sickened of it.
Right, well, Angels, let me hand over to you. How are we going to get him successful?
First of all, yes, I agree. You have got a super website, and I love your little video when you do your display of what it's all about. So well done on that. I think your biggest problem is that you are a one-product company, yeah. And as many of you will know, for a garden centre or business to take on another supplier, I think just to get them onto their system costs like £150 or something.
Yeah. Can I just say that, honest? I'm only a one-product company because that's the only thing I make. You know, I don't make anything else. You know, we specialise in... There's only me makes this.
No.
You know, we're 100% specialists.
Yes, but you must see it from the garden centre's
I really
point of view.
I do.
That's
I understand
why you're
that.
going to find it difficult to break in. And whether have you considered that? I think it's a really, really good product. I think it ticks a lot of boxes. Are you considering the fact that you have got a valuable product there that you should be selling on to someone else?
Totally got an open book. That's why I'm saying I don't know. I'm probably not clever enough to be able to really shove it forward. I'm a manufacturer.
Sue, can I just ask there, when you talk about selling to somebody else, are you talking about for somebody else to distribute or to sell the business?
To sell the business. I don't know.
Yeah, that's...
I'm not looking to buy it.
No, I realise like you're retired.
Brian, a couple of questions. I'm sure this is a unique product in this country, but I'm almost certain I've seen it in New Zealand. Is that right?
Yeah.
Ah, right. Okay.
It came to me yesterday that it's made in New Zealand, but I should be very disappointed if it wasn't made in New Zealand, because they've got one of
so
the
many
largest sheep
yeah.
populations in the
Of course,
world.
yeah.
And
No,
same in Australia.
I was just wondering.
They do not make it for slugs. They make it as a soil conditioner.
Yeah, well, they haven't really got a slug problem.
No.
there. They've got a snail problem, but not a slug problem.
That hasn't come up
Yeah.
that, but they don't use as much wool as what I use in it.
Yeah. I would agree completely with Sue. You know, you've got a great product, you've got a great website, and you also have the challenge of breaking in to garden sense. But you know, I wouldn't worry too much about that not initially, because what you've got to do first, you know, if you're going to interest one of the large players, and there are several around here, you know, companies that have got mega distribution in all garden centres and multiples. The first thing you've got to do is to prove that your product sells. And to do that, you don't need to get in everywhere, but you do need to get on your bike, you and your colleague, and you know, go out with samples and a price list and, you know, a nice display unit and sell it in, even if it's only 30 or 40. This time next year, or, you know, before that, you want to be in the position to say, hey, you know, I've been out there, I've got distribution, this is the rate of sale I've got. You know, if you can do that, I think you'll find there'll be a lot of people interested in collaborating with you in some way.
Okay. I mean, there is the wholesaler network as well, isn't there? So,
yeah.
Sorry?
I said there's the wholesaler network as well that would obviously give you distribution. So that's certainly something perhaps you should approach. Can I just ask how the bags? I'm not so sure about the pricing and the bags. What's the retail pricing?
The small bag, the retail price is recommended at $2.95.
And how many plants?
And that'll do you half a dozen plants. And that's for 12 months. Once it's down, undisturbed, it's round your plant for 12 months. And as I said, it doesn't blow or wash away once it's been watered in, undisturbed.
It just forms a mat, doesn't it?
The large bag is recommended at $5.95.
But on your website, it was at $7.99 more or less, wasn't it?
No,
because I thought I saw a 20
a 20 litre at $9.95 for buying a pallet. But
right.
that will for
that's
to the trade.
That's the trade price, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. No, I thought it.
No, I've nothing at 7.
No, in your website, I saw a 20. I think it was a $24.99 website for a 20 litre bag, and then
which
and then 2 3.5s for $19.99, which didn't make a lot of sense.
No, the 3.5 litre bag is $10.95, and that out of that, I've £6 odd in postage.
So I'm thinking retail. Yeah, I'm thinking retail. Yeah.
On for that.
But
sorry.
You're manufacturing this. You're pelleting this, are you?
Sorry?
Are you manufacturing this?
Certainly am, yeah.
So it's your pelleting machine?
Yeah.
The whole process is yours?
Everything, yeah. Yeah, we make it.
I do think it's a great product. It stinks, but it's a great product.
It's natural.
We normally say that on a product we should stick to 3 key benefits and really shout about them. I know that this one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I just feel that perhaps your packaging is maybe a little bit too wordy, and I don't know whether you feel you could do something to get the message over, perhaps with bigger writing and fewer points.
I might do next time, but I've just got 50,000 done, so I might be dead then.
But you'll sell them all.
I think price-wise, I don't know, what your costs are, Brian, but I think it's great because on your website I only saw the 20 litre and the 3.5 litre.
Yeah,
bags.
I don't do the small bag on the website. That's just for.
I was really pleased to see that you've done a 1 litre bag, because I think this is exactly the type of product that needs that sort of try me first type of size.
Yeah,
and but you've got to get the price right, and it just feels a bit high for me. That's sort of over $4.99 for the 3.5 litre. I would have liked to see a $3.99 or even a $2.99 on that. And I don't know if this is achievable. I don't know what your costs are, but you know, shitty wool doesn't sound very expensive to me. Excuse me, ladies.
It's a complete waste product, isn't it?
Sorry?
The raw material is a waste product.
It's a waste product.
Yeah.
It's the process to pelletize it, presumably. That's where the cost comes in. But I would have thought you need to be at sort of $1.99, $2.99 tops for the 1 litre, and then maybe $3.99 retail. So you've got to work back from that to...
It doesn't
work.
No, oh, no. I don't understand that. But it doesn't matter what I tell. I do a local garden centre. They're here. But I better not name them. But I recommend $2.95.
Yeah.
They've got it in at $3.95.
Yeah.
So as long as it's not below that, there's not a lot I can...
Is it selling through all right, Brian?
They came yesterday and said it had done really, really well, yeah.
Are they more than doubling that, your price then?
More than doubling it, yeah. But most people do. That's what I'm saying. When I have a decent website, I sell quite a bit on website, but I can't compete with anybody that's doing mail order because, as you've said, and I know that, I'm one product. That's all we make, which I'm proud of making. But when I'm sending it out, it's costing me £6 odd. Others can do it for £4.
Yeah.
So unless they come to my website and find it nice, then and they prefer buying off the manufacturer, then that's fair enough.
I don't think it needs to be a mail order product. I think.
Sorry?
It doesn't need to be a mail order product. We just need to get this into.
Do you see this as a garden centre product?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it ticks so many boxes, and I assume it's all British wool.
75% is British wool, and that I wish it were 100% British wool.
Could it be?
No, it's a waste product. Where my machines are, we scour for a lot in Europe as well. When you're transporting wool, it's a lot easier to transport it in the greasy state because they can compact it more, and it comes in like rock, and that will break it up. So when they're shipping it on boats, they can get more in for volume size. Once it's scoured and washed, it's really fluffy, and that. So we do scour a lot for abroad, and that.
So if this takes off and starts to sell really well, are you going to have a supply of dirty wool problem?
No. No, we're not, because what I don't use now, we can sell the raw material when I don't use it. A lot of it goes to the rhubarb triangle. Right. It can go around where I live, and that goes on for the commercial cabbage growers, for the hop fields, apple orchards, sugar beet. There's no waste. It's absolutely it's a good product.
Now
whether it's in raw material and...
My question was, are you going to run out of the raw material?
No, we scour with a scour between 400 and 500 tonne a week of wool. There's only 2 scourers, commercial scourers in the country. Once tried it years and years ago and didn't do well, and I'm at the other one.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I picked up, because I was talking to a garden centre retailer on the new product stand earlier on, and she said that it's a great product as well. She liked it. One of the points she made was give the packaging a bit more. I know you've got 50,000, Brian. Hopefully that won't last very long.
I've only 47 now.
47 now, but you know, give a good focus to the vegetables application on this, because you know, there's lots of other benefits, and as Sue was saying, you can't say too many things, but vegetable growing is a mega application for it. So. That's
the thing.
I know you mention it, but you just.
I've Yorkshire stock vegetable grower and on board, like, you know.
Can I just, before we get to the scoring stage, can I just ask the Angels? You see it as a garden centre product. What do you think would be the best way to get it, to bring it to market, to sell it to the garden centres? Stephen?
from my point of view, I think you've just got to get into the wholesalers. I think if you can create the demand, and I think you could, you know, I think if you're put in front of a few buyers, you'd probably create some demand. So, but it's distribution. We need to know that it's there, and we can buy a case, not a pallet from. So I think it's just a distribution. But I think that's certainly doable. I mean, there's enough people walking around here that have a few sheds around the country.
Computer.
Yeah, no, I can't add to that. I agree. You need to get your distribution, and to go to a wholesaler is the answer, I think.
Well, I think the time... Paris, do you want to add to that?
Well, I was only going to say I agree. You know, wholesale is a good route. The only thing is, timing-wise, you might be a bit late to get that organised for this coming season. So I would just get out there as well, you know, and get it in as many centres as possible, you know. And, you know, be a bit flexible on volume initially, even if it costs you more to get it. You know, if you can't ship them a pallet, send them 20 bags just to get people to trial it, you know.
I ship them one box.
Yeah.
Of small ones, yeah.
Yeah, you just need to expose it.
Yeah. How much does that cost you?
My cheapest one that I send out is £41 for the 3.5 litre, but there's a lot of people that's just same as me. They're only small. Some of them might only want a box. If you just try to sell them a lot more, then it put them off. Like I know what it's like.
I think time for scoring. First of all, Angels, if I can ask you to hold up a card for your score for what you think of the product and the chance of the product being a success. Paris.
I think the product is excellent. I think Brian is to be congratulated. You know, given that he's come from a career as a wool technologist into marketing a potentially, you know, very, very successful and dynamic product. But I do think it is a bit of a niche as well. I don't think it's going to be a mega seller, but perhaps Brian doesn't really want that. He just wants a steady product that kind of, you know, goes every year. Everybody wants it every year. I also like the fact that it's a product that only lasts 12 months, so there's a repeat purchase from people that start buying it and keep using it. So I think it's a good product. I would give it a strong mark to reflect that, but not too strong because it's a bit niche. So I'm going to go with a 7.
Thank you very much.
Can everyone see that's a 7? Sue?
Yeah, I agree. I think it is a great product. I'm really looking forward to using my sample in my garden. Thank you. And I'm going to be even more generous. Oh, wrong one. And give you an 8.
Thank you very much.
Highest yet.
Stephen?
I think it's a great product. It's coming out into a market that's got a lot of alternatives. That's the problem. I mean, there's a lot of natural slug deterrents. But there's a moment, I'm not sure the longevity of it, I'm not sure, but certainly there's a wave to hit. I'm perhaps less enthusiastic, and I've got it actually as a 5.
5. So that gives us, well, that's our top product so far with 20, and now the set up as a business as it is at the moment, Brian's chances of turning it into a successful nationwide business. Stephen, would you like to start again?
I think there's a lot to do. I think we need to help, you know, there's some work to be done. We've got to get it into a channel, and maybe that's a wholesale channel, or Sue suggests, you know, somebody actually comes along and buys it off you. A lot of work to do, though, because I think at the moment I can't really get into this. From the company's point of view, there's no distribution. I can't, you know, even if I want it, I can't really get it. So I'm really down here. I think there's a lot of work to be done, so I'm down at 3 on this.
If it had distribution through a wholesaler, would that score have gone up?
If that was all in place, then we'd be in a completely different sort of position and, you know, ready to go. Yeah.
Brilliant. Sue?
Yeah, I think as it stands, you're not going to be able to spread it further. So you do have to rethink the whole distribution thing. I think maybe a 4.
You know, I think Brian's done a very good job with limited resources thus far. He's essentially a manufacturer. I think he's done a good job on the packaging. He's thinking about it the right way. My main reservation is on the retail price. I think it's too full. You know, I think you need to get people into it and I don't know if that's possible, but I think he can get distribution if he does it himself this year, and I think if he can prove that it sells through, he'll do even better next year with through a partner or else through a wholesaler or whatever. So I'm not going to score as highly on this, but I think he's done very well. So I'm going to give a 5.
Thank you very much.
5. So what does that give us as a total? 9, 12, 32. You are our leader. So congratulations and well done, and you're a great advocate for the product. So thank you very much indeed.
Thanks very
Well
much.
done, Brian.
Thank you.
And a big thank you also to the Angels, who've given some very valuable advice there. So thank you very much.